I was selected as an artist for the Short Street Garage project in downtown Columbia. And in conjunction with that project, the City of Columbia really strives to get their artists involved with the community. So they picked the local high school and had me come in and work with the students to create a piece of artwork. Because I work in metal and I weld and I grind, and I wasn't sure if I was going to teach everybody how to weld, and it just in my head didn't quite make sense, but I knew I was excited about the process. The main idea behind the Short Street Garage project, that large public sculpture, is kind of the ripple effect, and it has to deal with water and it has to deal with the way people move and interact in the world. And so I wanted to kind of tie those two projects together. And so I created this wall piece that was all these waves. When I would go home to my studio, I would actually create the substructure that all of these tiles would fit onto and go onto the wall. Each student got a tile, at least one. Some of them got 2 or 3, some people did 8. And they would cover the tile with a bunch of tape, and they would cut away their image with an X-Acto knife. And after the metal was exposed, we would dunk it into this chemical bath, which was a mix of muriatic acid and hydrogen peroxide. And that chemical reaction actually ate away the surface of the metal, leaving this relief. And then they went ahead and painted the surface of the metal, then sanded it down, and you have this image on there where it's blue and then the negative space is all silver or exposed metal, or vice versa.
One of the areas where the students really had a lot of flexibility and allowing them to have their individual creative voice was in the imagery that they selected. They followed the process that Ms. Nybeck goes through with her work, and then went through some reflective writing, the way that she starts a lot of her processes. And so after the students were writing about things that were important to them, their connections to her concept of the ripple effect, then they went off and created thumbnail sketches from that. And that's an exciting part to see, because at that point they start taking ownership in the work. And one student in particular really made this beautiful symbolic leap between a concept that was happening in her life and the distance that she was feeling between people, and she translated that into numbers. And so all of a sudden this piece that is a symbol represents this huge concept that she was able to reflect on and share in her sketchbook. So knowing that there's all these pieces that are going to be a part of the sculpture that have these larger than life stories, and I think that's going to be one of the joys when it's all together, is to be able to look through that. And some of them we will know the stories behind, and some of them we can only guess at. I like the ones where a student doesn't appear to be overly engaged in it, but secretly they are, and that is one of the high school traits, where there's a social persona that they want to put out there.
They may be having a good time, maybe not having a good time, and it kind of looks like it's the same thing. So sometimes it's really hard for me to, it's like, well, are you excited? Do you hate it? Are you asleep? Like, what's happening? And so it's also kind of a treat, because every once in a while they'll slide in these comments. You are interested and you are paying attention. This is important to you.
One student that repeatedly it felt like both Ms. Nybeck and I were trying to motivate came later after school and asked, so when you say permanent, this is going to be permanently installed, like I can bring my grandkids back and see my work? And I had no idea that he was going to make that connection and that he would want that longevity for the piece. We talk a lot about having our students be college and career ready. We talk a lot about technique, and we prepare them for that, and we do have sections where we talk about careers and what are the possibilities. And so actually having a professional that could come in and give them some of the logistics and insights of what did you do yesterday and what was that like, and all of the small details that we don't typically cover. So much of what we try to do with the arts is to give them a relevant context for what they're doing. Maybe you don't necessarily want to become a visual artist, maybe that's not a career path for you, so then why are we studying these things? There's so many answers to that. After looking at Ms. Nybeck's public art, we also looked through City of Columbia's public art tour, and for them to be able to say, oh, I noticed that, but now I'm thinking about that in a new way. That's a really powerful connection that grounds them in the community. It makes them more educated when they step outside. They're able to have conversations with people, intelligent conversations about what they're viewing in their own environment. And one of the things that I love most about having art students evolve through our art classes is that they come out with an appreciation so they can be stewards for preserving that art, the public art in our society.
Public art is just this incredible way to experience artwork to me. You know, you don't have to know anything about it. You don't have to even care about it. But it's in your space and it's in your environment, and you can have this interaction with it that can be fun, it can be whimsical, it can be serious, it can be intellectual. Anybody can be around it, and it's not this exclusive art experience that sometimes art gets labeled as. And so that's a part of my heart cry, and I think it's really important for communities to have it and to embrace it. It brings a level of culture and life and vibrancy to a place that might have not otherwise been.